If you're serious about getting better at chess, you know that the internet is absolutely flooded with resources. There are way too many tools, books, resources, courses, so you need to figure out which ones are actually worth your time and money. And in this video, I'll help you cut through the noise because I'll share my 3 favorite tools that I use with basically all of my one-on-one students, and I recommend to everyone in my Simplified Chess Improvement System course. Make sure to stick until the end of the videos because for each of the 3 resources, I'll not only show you, well, what the resource is, but actually how to use it smartly. And by the end of the video, you'll also get a free access, limited access to one of these resources. So make sure to stay until the end and let's jump right in. Let's start with resource number 1. And yes, this is kind of an obvious pick, but I assume that some of the ways of how you can get the most out of this resource, which is Lichess, you don't know yet. So on Lichess, you can have 4 main use cases, which I recommend doing. Number 1 is play and analyze. We'll talk about that later on. Number 2 is learn the basics. So if you are a lower rated player, just getting into chess, that will be super useful, but also it can be useful to send it to a friend who just got into chess. Use case number 3 is to train tactics. Tactics are so important. You can do it on this side for free. And use case number 4 is to use the study section as databases, mostly for opening and for your game analysis. So let's jump right into all of these 4 use cases, and I'll show you how you can get the most out of them. Starting with playing games. Now, when you play games, you can just click here and play a game, but it's super important that you focus properly. And that's why I love playing on Lichess, because you have 2 things that can help with the focus a lot. So when you click on your profile right here and you go to preferences, you can go into display and then scroll all the way down. And now you see 2 things. You see Zen mode and you see show player ratings. Now, what are these 2 things? Zen mode is basically just a mode where if you play or you solve a puzzle or you do anything on the side, the site just avoids all of the distractions and just shows you what is necessary. So for playing, you just see the board and you see the clock. For solving puzzles, you just see the puzzle, not the puzzle rating, nothing like that. So I highly recommend that when you use Lichess, you just go, yes, Zen mode. You could also say in-game only, which just affects when you play games. When you say yes, it affects puzzles and other things as well. And then the second thing, especially if you are too results focused, especially if you're anxious when playing rated games, what you can do is simply not show any ratings anymore on this site. So when you go here, show player ratings, and you click no, I already had this on, what that does is you never see any rating anymore. Not yours and not your opponent's rating, but also not if you browse the site, also not if you go to your profile. And that's super important because it allows you to just fully focus on the process, not have anxiety. Oh, I play a higher rated player. Oh, I play a lower rated player. No, just focusing on the game. You just see the board, you just see the clock, and that's all you see with the Zen mode and the player ratings off. So if you or a friend want to use Lichess for learning the basics, you can do that by going into this Learn tab and then, for example, click on the chess basics. The chess basics are really just the rules and some a little bit more advanced things. So you can click in here and learn, okay, what is a pawn? How does it move, right? So that's pretty self-explanatory. If you want to help a friend get into chess, that's a great way to do it. Then you can go into practice. That's a little bit more advanced because you can practice some of the most basic patterns. So here are some checkmates, right? So you get checkmate patterns, recognize the patterns, you go in here and you have to find double bishop mate, Boden's mate, Morphy's mate. You might realize they all have these special names, okay? You execute here, bishop d4 is a checkmate, you continue and you solve all of these checkmates. That's very cool as well. You can practice the pin, the fork, double check, more advanced tactics. So that's just an introduction into some of the most important patterns that you might see in chess. So if you haven't studied those yet, that's a great way to get into it. And then the third thing that you can do in the kind of basic training is going to coordinates especially if you have troubles when you're reading chess books on where you're hearing moves, right? If you hear bishop d4 and you don't really know where it is, you can kind of gamify learning the coordinates with this here. You just click on start training. You get a coordinate, a6, and you need to click on the square. I click on a6, b2, okay, b2 is here, f4 is here, e8 is here, and so on and so forth. You might realize I'm now in Zen mode. If I would go out of Zen mode, I would see that, oh, there is a timer running, there is a score here. So it's really a gamified way of having a certain amount of time to find all of these coordinates. You just click and you try to get better, learn these coordinates. That's the basics function on Lichess. Use case number 3 are tactics. Tactics are so important and you get way more than enough puzzles right here on Lichess. So you can just click into puzzles and immediately you will see a puzzle popping up. Something important to note is that I would recommend having the rated button on. What that does is simply just adjusting the difficulty of the puzzles to what you can see right now. So that's actually useful. No matter how high or low your rating is, you just want to find puzzles that are actually, possible to find for yourself. So this is great. You can also adjust the difficulty level here, going harder or easier. If you're just starting out, I would definitely recommend, if anything, making them easier because you can build up these patterns. And something many people don't know is that you can adjust the puzzle themes, and that's super cool. So when you click here into puzzle themes, or you can go directly from puzzles and then themes, what you can do is you can select a certain kind of puzzle which helps you improve a certain area of tactics. So for example, you can scroll down and you can select by motives. That's what I do with many students, especially if they are newer to the game. I always recommend them doing this hanging piece section. What that means is that every single puzzle that you will get if you click in here involves a piece that is hanging, or what hanging actually also means is that it's not defended enough, right? So for example, right here, you're getting this, and it seems like this bishop on h3 is actually hanging, right? So we just grab this bishop. So all of the tactics that you will solve will have a certain pattern. And that really helps, especially if you realize, oh, if I play some games and I always miss a pin, well, I can just go to Lichess, use the pin function on the puzzle themes, and that's more effective training right there. And just as a side note, many people solve puzzles the wrong way. That would really just explode this video in length if I would go into it. So I'll do a separate video about how to use puzzles the right way, how to study tactics the right way. It will be soon out on this channel. Make sure to subscribe and to not miss this video. Let's go on. The last function you should use on Lichess is the study function, the database function. So how does that work? You go here into learn, then you go into study, and you can see there are all studies from different people, but what you can do is here click on this green button and create a new study. I recommend having 3 studies to start with. One study will be your games. Second study will be with your white openings. The third study will be your black openings. So here is like games, Noel. Okay, so I can create this study, can set the visibility to unlisted, which just means that nobody is seeing what is in this study. Click start. And now I could copy PGN text in here, which just you can export, for example, your games from chess.com. You can bring them in here. Or if you play on Lichess, there is an easier way to do that. Just go right here. Whenever you play a game, so I go to my profile, okay, I go to my games, go to my last game right here. When you finish a game, you will see this, this overview. You click into the analysis board, okay? Now, I don't recommend you use this pre-made analysis. There's a full video on that on my channel. But what is important is you can just click right here. Oh, I'll have to take my video away. Okay. So you click right here in these 3 little lines. You click on study, and then you can just insert this game into a study. So I have games Noel, and now this game is into this study. So like this, I can fill up this study with all of my games, which makes it way easier if you're getting a coach to share the games with them, right? You can just add a member right here, add someone new, and they can see this study. It makes it easier for you to go back and to see, oh, how did I play 2 months ago? What was this game again? You don't have to go to your profile, go through everything. No, you just have all of your serious games you have in one study, and you can analyze them as well. So for example, here, if I go to this move d5, I can add a note. I had a note in here. Here I thought I was much better. And then you can see it right in here. You can always come back to this study. So you do this for your games, and then you have a study for your openings, white and black. You can always go back there, see which openings was I planning to play, what move was I planning to play. That's a super useful way of using the study function. And you don't really need to have any other program like ChessBase that are pretty expensive and also pretty complex. It's just good enough to have Lichess. And those are the 4 ways of using Lichess. I love Lichess that much that I hold all my lessons on Lichess. I usually have just a study prepared. I, share it with my student. They see whichever move I'm playing. So it's really super easy. You can have this study function, you can have the tactics, you can have the play and analyze, and you can use Lichess for, learning some basics, sending it to a friend. And there are way more functions, but as the idea is to keep it simple, I really think that these are the functions that matter the most. And so, leave out the rest for now. Just focus on those and you'll get a lot out of a totally free resource. And just as a side note, Lichess is free because, well, people like me are giving them money, are supporting them with donations. So if you love their product and you can afford to support them, consider supporting them. I really think it's a great site. Let's move on to resource number 2, which is a book series with which I actually learned chess, or I got better when I was pretty young. And it's called the Step Method. You might have seen books like this. These are the workbooks, okay? There's step 1. They have different steps. We'll get to that. And they have also manuals. These look more like that, okay? So these are different steps. Why I love this book series is a few reasons. They are super high quality. They are done by coaches. They have been tested over so many years. So they are not like a fresh new product, trying things out. No, this has worked for so many chess improvers already. Now, yes, this is aimed at kids, right? But it really works well with adults as well. I've used it with so many adults right now, and it's really super simple because it builds up one on another. So there are 6 steps, starting from really beginner learning the rules all the way up to 2100. So you can use those books for a long time. They're also super affordable, and you can decide if you only use the workbooks or if you use the manuals plus workbooks plus workbook plus. Let's get into what that means. So this is their online site. You might see that this is a much more book-focused company. They don't really care too much about digital stuff, but there is a digital option as well. So when you scroll down here, you first get the curriculum and you see already the rating suggestion for each step. So wherever you stand, I recommend you go with that step. Now, there are all of these books, right? You see Learning, Workbook Plus, Workbook Extra, Workbook Mix. How does it work? So there are 2 ways that I work with these books. Either you can use them as an all-in-one resource. What that means is basically you're getting this manual. This manual is intended for coaches. So what you're doing is you're reading the manual yourself, and then you are solving the according workbook. So you read manual 2, and then whenever it says now go solve the stuff, then you solve the stuff. So basically you're playing trainer and student in one. And that's a super effective way to just have one resource and improve your chess. The other way that I use it, that's what I do mostly with my one-on-one students, because we focus on different resources as well. The third resource will be a big part of that. So what I'm doing with them is I'm just getting them the workbooks. I'm getting them this workbook, or as you can see on the side, there is a workbook plus, extra, and mix, just additional puzzles. So what this is human selected positions that you're going to solve that are for a certain rating range and that are just high quality. They are not AI created, so solutions are not weird, and there are clear like written solutions that you can download. going alongside these workbooks. So what I'm doing is just my students that are from, let's say, if a student is 1650 rated, so then we go with step 4 because they are higher than 1600, lower than 1750, and they just solve a lot of these puzzles, bring their skills actually to a different level so they can see these things also in the game. So that's a super simple way. You can decide, do I want the what is it again? The manual plus workbooks, or do I just want to start with a workbook? Both are super useful and super affordable as well. In Europe, they cost like, these workbooks cost like $5, right? So super affordable, high quality. I really love the step method. Let's get to resource number 3. And if you're thinking that books are for boomers, you're not going to read books, then, well, maybe you rather want courses. And there are so many options out there. In my personal opinion, ChessMood is the best option with the highest quality courses on the market right now. Now, a few things. First of all, I'm an affiliate to ChessMood. I've been recommending their work for like 4 years already. So when you click a link that is from me, and then you end up purchasing something, I'll earn something as well. So you're supporting my work also through that, just to make that clear. Why do I recommend ChessMood? Why do I think it's the highest quality courses? Now, there are a few differences to, for example, Chessable, right? Chessable is a marketplace where basically anyone can create courses. Now, I know they have some kind of quality control tool, but one of the things that I don't like is, for example, you can have a course for white against the Sicilian, and then there is another course that says, no, this Sicilian line is actually great for black, right? So you have kind of courses that are speaking against each other, which is a bit weird to me. On ChessMood, you have a team based, these are all Grandmaster coaches, and these Grandmasters are deciding what they think should be in the courses. So every single course that you can see right here is kind of going with another course as well. So if you're studying Tactics Ninja and then you study Silent Strategy, it's not like these are two things that are going against each other, but actually these are two courses thought and built by the same coaches, and so it makes sense altogether. And to support that, they have a monthly or yearly membership system. So they're not trying to constantly bring out new courses and sell you new courses, but actually when you have a membership, you have access to all of their courses, which also reduces FOMO. So I like this a lot as well. Now, if you want to check ChessMood out, that's my small gift that I have. Until the 20th of December, using my link in the description, you will get a gift that you can activate until the 20th of December. You will have access to all of their courses totally free. Okay, so make sure to click the link in the description and then get this gift. You will have access to all of these courses. What to do if you have access to, what was written here, 500 plus hours of Grandmaster crafted courses. The problem is that many people just try to study everything and then you're overloaded again. So we need to keep this simple. What I highly recommend is you go here into this rating boosters if you are still below a level of 2000. And now you single out one course that you think is the highest value for you. For many, it will be tactics because, well, tactics are so important in chess. So you could study this tactics course. For some, it might be that you're blundering a lot. So go into blunderproof. For others, you might say, oh, I always mess up my winning positions. Well, then the WWP pilot navigating 1 positions to victory will be the course for you. So single out the one course that you think has the biggest value for you and then study this course. One more reason why I love ChessMood is that with all of their courses, they have puzzles as well integrated. You can see here are 177 quizzes and trainings. So you're not only seeing a video and learning something, but you have, similar to the step method, right? Where you have the learning part, and then the workbook, you have the learning part and then the puzzle solving in one, which makes it for a better learning experience. You can immediately apply what you're learning. So you go to this course, you go through this course, good focus. You maybe even repeat the course once. And then if you have still the free access, you can decide, is this something that I enjoy a lot? Do I want to get a monthly or a yearly membership? And that's just how I recommend using them. Again, also ChessMood is working on different things, like they are working on an AI coach, they are working on different features. But here, I highly recommend the main benefit you will have from this membership, the main way I use it with my students. I just tell them, oh yeah, I realize a student has difficulty with, for example, strategy. I send them, hey, go to silent strategy, watch this. And then if you have questions, you can bring it into the lesson. So instead of me, charging 7 hours of explaining things, they will just go to ChessMood, watch that course, which is way cheaper than getting a one-on-one lesson with me. And then we can discuss things that are unclear in our lessons. That's how I use ChessMood with my students. And a lot of my students in the Simplified Chess Improvement System course are using ChessMood. A lot of one-on-one students, basically all of them have ChessMood as well. So it's really a resource I highly, highly recommend, super high quality. Make sure to check it out with the link in the description. If you're still watching this before December 20th, you'll get free access to the courses until then. So these are the 3 resources that I use with all of my students, and I recommend to you guys to try it out. Small clarification here. Now, some of you may think, well, but you have your own courses. Why do you recommend other stuff? So I have 2 courses. I have a beginner-focused course, an all-in-one beginner course. So if you're below 1200, I think that's an amazing resource. The link to it is also in the description. So you can check out Beginner Chess Mastery. Then my second course, the Simplified Chess Improvement System, is a holistic chess course that is focusing on how to study chess, right? So there is not the chess training that like okay, in this position, do this move. That's what I recommend in this course, but I tell you how to study tactics, how to analyze your games, how not to get overwhelmed, how to write your training plan, which resources to work on. Like all of these meta skills that you need to improve your chess to not get overwhelmed are talked about in this course. And so that's why that next to my own courses, I still recommend other good resources because I'm not covering it all. So if you want to check out one of the 3 resources, Lichess, Step Method, ChessMood, make sure to do that. And if you are a beginner or if you want to study more of the meta skills of how to study chess, then make sure to check out my courses. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and see you in the next one.